High vibration training. I'm Brian Withers, empowerment coach, trainer, and author. Well, you could call this shocking your energy, because what we want to do is when we have a negative feeling thought, we just want to introduce a complete opposite positive thought that we don't initially actually believe, but the way that this game works, this exercise works, is it's going to lure you into a conversation that leaves you moving into a positive feeling place. You're going to see as I talk about this how that works. So we want to make sure that we're in our natural high vibration place. We want to be in that positive feeling place. But because of faulty beliefs, we often find ourselves thinking thoughts that are low vibration, they're out of alignment. And of course, that gives us the train wreck version of life, because the law of attraction returns to us that low vibration energy. And we want to get into the celebration, expanding, joyous life. That's what we came for. So we want to get into that life and away from the faulty belief life. So if we get into the negative feeling thoughts, then we plug up the pipe, right? Everything naturally is going to flow to us. It's not that we got to do things to receive things, to get things to manifest. They're just going to happen. It's just a natural consequence when we're in positive flowing energy in our mind. We're choosing good feeling thoughts, going through our day on all matters, that this stuff naturally flows into our life. We are receiving the path to all those things. It's only when we indulge in those negative feeling thoughts that we just plug the pipe. So it's not what we have to do, it's what we want to stop doing that's going to allow the things that we want to manifest in our life. And that's really important to know, because so many people, even people that are getting wind of this business about vibration, energy, law of attraction, there's still that effort thing. Like, how am I going to get it to manifest? Or what do I got to do to make it come faster? Or all these things. And it's none of that. It is none of that at all. It's just stopping yourself and changing a negative feeling thought into a positive feeling thought, which means changing a thought that's out of alignment to one that's in alignment. I could also say changing a low vibration thought to a high vibration thought. See, when we just live in our mind in that high vibration place, then this is going to flow to us. Our natural life is going to flow. So that high vibration place is just thoughts that feel good. And so we know if we're there, because positive emotion is active. And if negative emotion is active, that means we're entertaining thoughts that are out of alignment, low vibration. So we want to do some high vibration training. And so this is a little exercise tool that you can do with yourself, and it will help you to train your mind back into the natural perspective of life, so that whenever you look at things, you start thinking more about your natural abundant nature, your natural worthiness, how things are naturally set up to work out for you, that you came for joyous expansion, and everything is in the universe is working for you to have what you want. You want these to be your automatic natural thoughts, and that's what this exercise is going to help you to train your mind to do. So no matter what you're looking at, you're going to see how it's serving you, how it's a positive for you in your life. So let's go down through some of these statements. So if you say things never work out for me, that's going to bring a negative emotion, because that thought's way out of alignment. Because what's true is everything is set up to work out for you. So what we're going to introduce here is why. We're going to make these statements questions, because when you ask why, then what that prompts you to do is give yourself the answer. And as you give yourself the answer, that's where you're training your mind back into its natural perspective of life. So, again, if you say things never work out for me, you're not going to be feeling good about that. That's going to give you a negative emotion that's out of alignment. But you say, why is everything set up to work out for me? And immediately you can see why that's kind of a shock to the energy, because you've gone from things never work out to me to why is everything set up to work out for me. Those are two very opposite statements, and you can't feel both of those at the same time. So if you are feeling that things never work out for you, but you just issue the statement or the question, why is everything set up to work out for me? And at first, it's kind of like a cold water splash in the face. It's a real shock to your system. It's like, what? That everything works out for me. And then you settle down for a minute, and then you start talking about the perspective of the creative process and of how that joyous, expanding cycle of the creative process works. And you can very quickly explain to yourself why it is that everything is set up to work out for you. And then you go back and think, hey, that statement I made, things never work out for me, that doesn't make sense anymore. That's ridiculous. And that's what you want to do with these thoughts that are out of alignment. You want to show why they're ridiculous and nonsense. And this, as you do this repetitively, as these kinds of statements come into your mind, these faulty belief-driven statements, you want to dissolve them by asking yourself a question that is based on what is true about life. So when you ask that question, you say, why is everything set up to work out for me? And you explain that to yourself, then you're going to feel good. Then you're going to be back into alignment, and that's where you want to be. You want your vibration to be high, and it is high when your thoughts are in alignment with the way that life really is. So let's go down the list here. You might think the thought, life isn't fair. Well, that's not going to feel good. So you're not feeling good. Negative emotion. So then you say to yourself, why is life fair? So then you're going to explain it to yourself. Oh, well, life is fair because I have thought energy, and the law of attraction picks that up and brings back what matches it. And I have the free choice to choose my thoughts. So life is very fair. So you see, you talk to yourself about that. Now it doesn't feel like life is unfair. You understand that life is fair and that you're actually in charge of your life. So you've just shocked that statement, that faulty belief statement, and as you explain to yourself why life is fair, now you feel empowered, feel in charge of your life, and that you get to change it. So there's the shock, there's the switch. The next one is relationships are hard, and you can replace that with why are relationships such an easy, wonderful experience? And naturally, they most certainly are, although as we look around and we think, well, there's certainly not a lot of evidence about that in terms of every relationship being like that. There's lots of evidence that relationships are hard. But that's because of faulty beliefs. That's because the way we look at them and we think about them and we are in them from the faulty belief perspective. And so we say, well, why are relationships such an easy, wonderful experience? And you explain that to yourself, why they're set up to be that way and why they can be that way and why you have the ability to live them that way. And once you do that, you're going to feel ease. You're going to feel like, okay, well, I can have an easy, wonderful experience as for a relationship. I absolutely can have that. And so as you explain the full reason for that, I won't go into that in detail for each of these statements because I do that in other videos. And you can do that. If you've been watching these videos, you can answer these questions. And as you take 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to do that, this is the vibration. This is the high vibration training. This is bringing your mind back into alignment. This is shocking those old faulty belief statements and replacing them with the understanding of what is true about life. And that's always going to feel good to you. And so this is something you can do on a daily basis all through the day. And it's a fantastic high vibration training tool to restore your natural high vibration mind. Let's keep going here. People will look at something they want to do and they think, oh, this is going to be hard. And then you can just say, well, why is life so easy? And before that, there was another statement, I can't afford that. And the question you could ask is, why am I a money magnet? Right? So When you can explain that to yourself, then money's going to feel easy, and you're going to feel the flow of abundance, and why that is something that you can get tuned into, and it's easy for you to do that. And you won't be saying that statement, I can't afford that. That's actually not even true, because your vibrational reality is loaded with so much abundance of everything that it's just hard to put it into numbers, because there's no number that would be big enough to show you that. So, it just would be a challenge for you to comprehend how much abundance is there. So you're not going to say that anymore. It won't even make sense to you after you explain to yourself why you're a money magnet. And you can explain to yourself why life is so easy whenever you hear yourself saying it's going to be hard. And you can say, and when you hear yourself saying, I don't know how this is ever going to work, you can say, why does everything always fall into place for me? And you explain that to yourself. And if you find yourself saying, my job is boring, you can say, why do I always have such interesting work? And if you find yourself saying, people are always trying to take advantage of me, you could ask the question, why does everyone treat me with respect and appreciation? You see, you're going to just explain these things. That's why I added the word why. And you just sit in your mind and you think, oh, wait, now let me remember. Why is it that everyone treats me with respect and appreciation? Because that's a vibrational reality. In your vibrational version of life, that movie, there is a movie available to you to receive. That is the one where you're receiving respect and appreciation. So that's as real as physical reality. You just choose which one you're going to focus on. And that's the one that's going to be manifesting. Okay, another statement, no one can help me with this ailment. And you could say, why does my body always bring itself back into wellness? Now, that's one that you can explain to yourself and know that your body is self-healing once you get resistance out of the way. So that's a much nicer place. You're going to feel good about that versus the worry and the fear and the frustration and whatnot that come with having an ailment, and you have no idea what it is, who can help you with it, how long it's going to last, any of that kind of thing. If you explain to yourself why your body always brings itself back into wellness, you're going to have relief. You're going to be at ease. See, you're going to train yourself. So then anytime there's an ailment that shows up, you're going to talk about it in this new way, and it's not going to bother you. You're just going to see, oh, it's just a temporary condition. I just let my energy slip out of alignment for a little while. I got a little lazy with my thoughts, and I introduced some negative energy into my high vibration body, and it never likes that, and it tells me about it, and the way it tells me is through an ailment. So I'm just going to get that all back in alignment, and my body will bring itself back in. See, this is how you explain these things to yourself. This is the training. As you explain to yourself over and over, then it becomes your habit, and it is the natural information, and it is the natural way to think about things. A few more here. My life is not going well because I had such a traumatic past. And many people will say that their present life is affected by the things that happened to them in their life. And you want to really come back on that and say, why is my past such a celebration? And we know, when we know the creative process, we know everything about your past is a celebration. And I'm not going to explain that in this video. I do in other videos. But again, if you're watching the videos, if you read my books, you're going to be able to answer that question, and you're going to find relief, and you're going to see that the past is not nearly the big deal that faulty beliefs made you think it is. Okay, so and let me just say on that I understand there's things that happen in people's past, and the details are not fun at all, not pleasant, pretty miserable. But what I'm doing here is I'm drawing your mind into a broader perspective, how in this case your past is full of contrast, and we know what contrast means. It means expansion. And so that's why, all those things of the past that you didn't like, they caused your life actually to get better. So it's just a matter of focus then. If you focus on what the situation caused your life to expand to, then you can see the celebration. Okay, so the last one here, this health condition runs in my family, and you can ask a question like, why is my wellness independent? I am an independent creator of my reality. My body is subject only to the energy that I am flowing through it. And when you explain that to yourself, then the silliness of things running in families, it all goes away, because it is a bunch of nonsense. And so that's what you're doing here, is you're taking faulty belief statements, things that you may have been believing, and you make them look silly and ridiculous and like nonsense, and that's what they are. And you do it by explaining to yourself these things about why life is this way, this natural way. And as you do that repetitively, you are training your mind back into its natural high vibration flow. So this is the short version of the creative process. Shows you the 5 steps of ask, create, allow, manifest, receive. And there's all kinds of things going on in these steps. There's all kinds of elements that work for you. And when you know that, then you can answer these questions. And if you are not able to answer these questions, you got some study to do, because until you can answer these questions, you will not be able to debunk these faulty beliefs. And if you do not displace and make these faulty belief statements ridiculous, there's going to have momentum, and they're going to continue to be influencing what manifests in your life. So you must do this. You must notice and pick up where you're saying these kinds of statements, and then you're going to come back at them, and you're going to give the exact opposite kind of a statement and prefix that with a why, and that will lead you into a conversation that reminds you about how life really works. It's going to remind you of this creative process and how the whole universe is set up to serve you and support you in joyous expansion. And that's going to get you back into your natural high vibration mindset. Okay, so remember, whenever that negative feeling thought comes up, you want to shock it. And you shock it with a why statement. And explain that to yourself. And then you'll be well on your way to training your mind back into its natural high vibration state. Okay, that's the video for today. Thanks for listening in. If you have any comments, leave them on the post, and enjoy your day.